Hey, what's up YouTube? I hope everybody's having a great day. It's been a couple weeks since I've made a video. Wanted to make one today, give you an update on what I'm doing on my build here and some lessons that I've learned throughout. So let's jump right into it. So far what we have is all our HVAC is complete. Electrical is pretty much wired up. We have insulation in the place and we're ready to do drywall. So let me share some of the things that I've learned throughout the process. Okay, so the one thing I've learned is that when you're wiring up for an addition, or if you're building a house or anything like that, you have to stay consistent with the gauge of your wire. So in order to save money, actually, I think it would make more sense to run everything with yellow wire, which is 12 gauge. Run all your lights, all your outlets, everything on it. And that way you don't need to have dedicated circuits for 14 gauge wire, which I ended up having to do because I didn't know this fact. Quick note here, I ended up buying two of these lights from Lowe's. These are made by Craftsman. They are actually very impressive. I'm loving the amount of light they put out, and they have a button on back here and it's adjustable all directions. Very nice work light. So having a two-story addition, I have one of these upstairs, one on the bottom, until I am ready to get all my lights hooked up. Okay, so over here, besides this dog, we have, this is our HVAC system. This is made by Rheem, and it's a 96% efficient furnace. Now this is a downflow furnace, so we are on the second story right now, and it actually blows the air downstairs where we have the main ductwork. And this is our return vent here, which will suck some air out from this room. We're gonna have some vents in this closet. And then, as you can see, this duct that goes downstairs will be sucking some return air there as well. Because it is high efficiency, our exhaust goes right outside into our wall there. So just PVC short pipe there. And then we also have the AC unit as well. And that's already all hooked up. Yeah, this is the system. It's actually very silent. When we're testing it, I don't think you're maxing any noise. The only thing you hear is the air moving through the vent. As far as what we have going on right now, in all our walls, all our exterior walls throughout the build, we had to use R21 insulation. Now we did do 2x6 construction. So this is the minimum requirement for our value. These come in bats. They're already cut in 8-foot size. So if you're doing 8-foot tall walls, it's actually very easy. Just pop them in. There's no cutting that needs to be done. Now, up on the ceiling, as you can see, we install these baffles. Once we get the ceiling drywall up, after that from the attic, we're gonna do blow-in insulation. Now what these baffles do is they prevent from that insulation, blowing outside through our rafters, and it also allows airflow. So you don't want to cover up all that airflow. You want your attic to be at the temperature that it is outside for preventing any icicles build up or anything like that. So these baffles were pretty easy to put in. You just kind of make them into shape and you just staple them a couple times on each corner and they should be able to do the trick. Okay, so for the interior walls, now you don't have to do insulation on interior walls, that is not code, but if you wanted to have some sound dampening, if you want to have rooms to be quiet and you don't want to hear noise and stuff, you want to put some insulation in. Our interior walls are 2x4 construction, so we did use R13 insulation for that, and this will keep this room nice and quiet from all the noise that we're going to hear in that playroom. Okay, so we are downstairs, and this is our main trunk for our HVAC system. As you can see, it's going to go across this room all the way, and we have a couple of vents that go down, and we want to have them all the way on the floor level. That way it will keep this room nice and warm in the winter. And then the ducts, they run in the floor joist all the way across the build. As you can see, we have a duct right here for this big closet. Now this is a 9-foot ceiling room, and what we're gonna end up doing is actually we're gonna create a box around this HVAC vent, and we're gonna dry wall that off, and we're gonna use some insulation to keep it from building up condensation and getting soaked and stuff. So in the garage we have a similar story here. We have our main trunk that runs all the way across, and we're gonna have to cover it up as well for fire code. So we're gonna build a box around it that's gonna get drywalled. Now over here, as you can see, we have the whole ceiling in the garage insulated, and this is R30 insulation. It's meant for like 2x10, and by code you have to insulate this as well. That will keep that room nice and warm upstairs. And when you install this insulation, you want to make sure that the paper is facing the room and not the garage. So you can see all this insulation is put on upside down. Now it makes it a little bit trickier to staple it in, but because it's pretty thick and wide, it kind of just goes in there, and unless you have something funky, it should stay in there pretty good. Okay, so one area I feel like I could have saved some money, that is the garage doors. We ended up spending over $5,000 to get these garage doors installed. These are 8 foot tall, 9 foot wide, and they have these smart opener system. So this actually has like a camera, and it plays with like your Amazon delivery service and stuff. Nothing really I would really use, but at the time when we ordered it, that's the only thing that the company carried, so we ended up going with that. Now I felt like it was a little bit much for just having 2 doors, and after watching them install it, I mean, they did spend half a day installing and stuff, but I think that's one area I should have shopped around a little bit more. Probably could have saved $1,000 or so. So that's what we have going on inside right now. As you can see, our insulation is done, and the next step is drywall. We had 160 sheets of this 1/2-inch drywall. These are 12 foot longs, delivered last week. Okay, so this is what we're looking like from the outside. As you can see, we got our siding on. We went with this off-white color. First we wanted to do white, but considering how dirty it might get and it would require a lot of power washing, we decided to do a little bit off-white. I ended up getting these special boxes here. These are gonna be for our lights and for our outlets, and they're J channels, so they're made to be sighted right around it. It'll make all those electrical things nice and pretty. Here we have 2 units. This is the ream unit for the addition, and it's actually pretty small compared to this train unit that's for my existing house, so we had to move it over here. Now you can see I have my little contraption here. This is my service line right now. It's on this temporary pole that I've set up. And what I'm actually going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this service and hook it up on the side of the addition, probably closer to the roof line there. And for me to do that, I'd have to run my electrical line through the addition, and I have to set up a meter base with a disconnect right over here, which was actually pretty hard to procure. It seemed like nobody had any of those meter base disconnects, and after about 2 weeks of searching, I found a supplier in Georgia, and I made a purchase for one. Now it came out to like $370, which I think is not a lot of money, but it is what it is. This is the wire. This is 4-aught wire that I'm gonna have to run between my main panel and that meter base disconnect. Now this wire comes to about $10 a foot, and I got 43 feet of it, so not a cheap date right there. Hey, well, so I wanted to do a quick update what's going on in my build, and I hope you like this. If there's any questions you guys have, and if you're considering doing an addition and you're not sure about it, feel free to reach out, throw a comment, and see if there's any way I can help. So I hope everybody has a great day, and we will see you everybody next time. Thank you.